I'm Jane Mountrose, and I'm here today with my wonderful friend and cohort, you could say, Barbara May Clark, known as Babs. She's a fellow minister with the Awakenings Institute and more. We actually both play roles as spiritual life coaches and healers, helping awakening souls to open to their emotional and spiritual intelligence and accessing their full range of resources. It's kind of a mouthful. Anyhow, our goal really essentially is to help people to live life to the fullest and evolve in wonderful ways. So that sounds simpler. With Father's Day actually being today in the US and the beginning of summer coming on Friday here on the 21st, our focus today is on embracing the divine masculine. It's that active time of year. And we'll also be using the Sacred Destiny Oracle cards. I have the guidebook right here. Really, it's one of my. It's kind of like dessert. This is one of my favorites. I say it about a lot of them. It's a really great oracle card. We're going to be using that to do a reading to start us off in the summer season with the divine masculine. And of course, this is a masculine season coming up with the brightest, longest days of the year, active people out doing things. So anyhow, we'll start with a discussion of the divine masculine and how it relates to both Father's Day and the summer season. From there, we'll go to the Sacred Destiny Oracle cards for more insights and also lead everyone in a guided visualization to deepen the experience as we generally do. The reading also, as we generally do them, is for the collective. In other words, it's taking the collective of people who are here with us live or who are going to be here and somehow the universe knows, and to provide something that's of value to us all together. We also have ways that we then personalize it, which we're going to do toward the end if time allows, and it generally does. We'll do a little addition for audience members to personalize it. So stay tuned. The readings can be, I think, for both for the collective and for us personally, can be life changing and very much life enhancing. This is a reading, a particular card spread that I like to do seasonally because it's like a foundation. So you'll see. Anyhow, I want to remind you, if you're here, please say hi and let us know where you're from. If you're new, also feel free to comment, to ask questions, to make suggestions, whatever comes to mind. And of course, during this time together, we want to just imagine that we're surrounded by light and that with every breath we take, we're breathing it in and releasing heaviness so we can fully enjoy this time that we have together. And with that, Babs, I'd like to turn to you and ask you to start us out with your impressions of our topic today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you.
When we talked about the topic of the divine masculine, I thought, wow, it's so often like on Father's Day, a lot of people get triggered because maybe they didn't have a best human father.
Right.
Um, and so to be able to help us embrace the divine masculine within ourselves, even, I think is so important because I know even in my own life, um, I can get caught up in being a little bit too passive and not like that
Mm-hmm.
active energy, not taking those risks that summer takes, not putting out as much of that active masculine energy and so I think it's a great personally it's a great reminder for me
Yeah,
and
me too.
for other people that we can and we are intended to own our place, to stand in our place that we've been given
Right.
as a as an image bearer of the divine, as the divine expressed as Babs, as Jane, as whoever's listening, and that entails both masculine and feminine. Both
Right.
the quiet energies, the thoughtful energies, but also this active energy, the active energy of summer. And yeah, I just think it's perfect. I think it's a beautiful topic, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
those are my thoughts.
Thanks. And it is as you said, we have both, whether we're males or females, and we need both.
Yes.
There is, like Babs was saying, there is a large movement, and I think particularly among females and also some males who recognize that embracing the divine feminine is important. But for women, and touching on what you also said, Babs, about maybe not having the best experience growing up with what masculine represented, because it was like power over everyone in the family, in my family, and it was not a very kind masculine. so so embracing the divine masculine is a huge step for us. And I think what you also said, that it about how if we reject that masculine energy, we may reject our own self-empowerment.
Yeah.
And I think that is I think that is for us collectively, and maybe
Mhm.
men and women, to understand what power is from a divine perspective. It
Yes.
is the power that we hold within ourselves. It's not having power to control others and to tell them what to do.
Right.
That's not. It's a whole different way of viewing power. Having, actually, it reminds me often of the major arcana card number 8 or 11, whichever it is, strength, um, in the tarot. That it's inner strength,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's being able to wield power with kindness. So it's very interesting when you look in depth more what all that means. I see Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Nick.
Wonderful to see you. Um,
Yeah.
I also I often look up, even though I'm very familiar with the masculine and feminine. I looked up on Google about what description of the divine masculine, and I
Mm.
don't know if you've seen this, Babs, but I've just noticed it within the last week or so. When I look up things on Google, often the top thing is from AI.
Yes.
It'll
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
It
is
comes.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
according to AI, which is the biggest and best resource, I can't say that, but it is interesting. A lot of times there are good overviews of things there.
Mhm. Yes.
So some of the things that are attributed to the divine masculine are confidence,
Mhm.
emotional intelligence, and I would add also mental and spiritual intelligence. It's a divinely intelligent male perspective. Leadership, effective, and leadership that is uh, kind, and looking at the good, the well-being of everyone. So beautiful. Resilience and action based. Able has that. I think one of the things I attribute to it is having the will to follow through on your dreams. Because if you look at the feminine as the part of us that actually uh, dreams, has the dreams and the visions, and the
Mhm.
masculine is the part that can follow through on those dreams and visions.
Yeah.
If we don't have the will to follow through, then we have nothing still.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. If we
Exactly.
don't have the dream and we're just acting, a lot of times you feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Mhm.
Um, that might be because you don't have that kind of soul inspired dream behind what you're doing. So it's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very fascinating, and I think when you were talking, it made me think of like almost a sadness for us when we don't recognize that the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the divine feminine are within us. Like so, all
Right.
these characteristics when we act out of those past places that have been hurt, and we just say we're pushing away the masculine, we maybe push it away. We think we're pushing it away externally, like to people and things like that, but in that same sense, it's also pushing it away from us.
Right.
And
Right.
forget that we also, as females, as males, we need to embrace that beautiful, kind um, power and action and strength, um, and allow those places in us to heal so that we can embrace it in ourselves and also embrace it in the larger consciousness. Because I think when we have a faulty view of what the divine masculine is, then we have a faulty
Right.
view of source. We have a faulty view of that consciousness, that source that we're all part of.
Mm-hmm.
Makes us harder to
Right.
embrace the fullness of who we are in oneness.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think as well, um, doing healing processes and
super important.
hypnotherapy and NLP and all of those things,
Yep.
we have a process where we talk to the masculine and feminine aspects of a person, have them communicate where they are, what their perspective is. And often they're at odds with each other. And that's not good either. It's kind of like the feminine doesn't trust the masculine doesn't trust the feminine, and both of them are at a standoff, basically.
Yeah.
And it also is interesting and it's fascinating and I think enlightening and really life changing to have those conversations and bring them to a place where they reach a higher understanding
Yes.
by bringing in that kind of soulful presence to both.
Mhm.
And then they can be functioning in a way where they're supporting each other and they're both going in the same direction. So something magical can happen.
Yeah, and then our lives feel more whole because
Right.
if we are like imagine just acting out of one part of ourselves at this point in time, then another part of ourselves at this certain time, and we're not together, we're not whole. Uh,
Right.
so when we embrace both of those, and I think what it reminded me is like I know when I did the year long course, we did that practice and it was so beautiful. But it's something that I think would behoove me and maybe others to do it on a regular basis, just to have that check in and say, okay,
Return to it. Yeah.
how are all the parts of me doing?
Right.
How am I
Yeah,
all
we are
doing?
polarized. You
Yeah,
know, in a lot of ways, we have the two competing forces in relation to all sorts of different aspects of our lives. And this is one of the maybe one of the most important ones,
yeah,
I think.
you're
So
right.
yeah. And it is, I think it's always it can be very entertaining to hear what they have to say.
Yes.
Because this is kind of the conversation that's going on below the surface that you may not even be aware of,
Right, right.
but
And
it's very important.
yeah, very important because I think our soul wants us to be whole. And
Right, exactly.
the soul space in us is the consciousness is trying to work and get us whole, but the our will or whatever that part of us is that is maybe I always call it I usually think it's more the fearful part, the part that wants to either control, that's the masculine, not that's the undivine masculine, the controller, that
Right,
versus
right.
or else withdraw, which can be more of the non-healthy feminine energy. So
Mm-hmm.
when we can work with both of those, then we get the full seasons, which brings it back to the summer because then it brings it back to the full seasons where everything is working in this beautiful harmony.
Yeah,
You
with
know?
nature and life. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And it is if you look at the idea of subpersonality or
mhm.
personalities or parts of the self, um, the journey to wholeness really is about bringing all of those, and there are a whole lot of them in most of us, parts of the self that have been divided out or disconnected from that wholeness, which is like the soul's awareness and the love, because a lot of times also they don't feel loved. They're fearful because they don't understand that they have love and they actually are love. So as we bring more of them back, we feel more comfortable being ourselves too. And that is about that whole idea of being able to live life fully and joyfully. And um,
For sure.
the better it gets, the better it gets, I guess you'd say. The more we can just bring them back. And it's never about us being bad. You know, sometimes people express concerns about seeing things about themselves that are bad, you know, that and it's not about that. It's actually if those parts are separated out, it's a misunderstand. The whole thing is a misunderstanding. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this didn't happen on purpose. It happens as a result of trauma that we can't integrate,
Yep.
and we're kind of stuck in the fear or the anger or whatever it is, the repression of it. Um, so that opportunity to bring ourselves back into a place where we can live fully is really true that we can do that.
Yeah.
And we deserve it.
Yes.
That's what we came for, actually, to live fully. We didn't come for repression.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Experience life and life to the fullest.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you ready for a reading?
Yes.
So, this reading that that I have planned for today is it's called the Four Directions, which is very common in a lot of different cultures. East, west, north, south. So we'll start. We follow it kind of like following the clock in the seasons.
Getting paper out. Always good for me to write them down.
Starting in the east, yeah. And this is something. If you want to be able to reflect on this reading, which is a good idea, I'll be reflecting on it. We start in the east, which is spring and sunrise. So it is what is dawning. So we'll be talking about what's dawning for us as we enter the summer season. The south is the heat, the summer, the midday summer season, and that's what's expanding. So we're talking about fire energy. This is that full masculine energy. And then from the west, what's emerging? That's the west is, of course, we're talking air in the east. That's the mind. Fire in the south. Water in the west. So what's emerging from the depths as the day kind of goes into the quieter times? What's emerging from the depths into the light for us to explore or heal? And then the north, where then it's nighttime. That would be winter. And people look at these things differently. I don't think there's one correct way, but this is the way that this one works. Nighttime, winter, and what's wanting to be healed or explored in those quiet hours. The real very quiet, reflective time. Yep. So we'll have 4 cards starting in the east, and what I'm going to do is switch to my other camera and put it on full view so that people can see, so that you can see the cards. So here we go with this, and I'm going to put it on speaker view. So we'll start again. I'm shuffling here. So I'm just shuffling. I've been shuffling while I was talking. I like to shuffle the cards a fair amount. And then the way that I do it, and I can't have everything here where you can see it necessarily, but I spread everything out and draw the cards. So I'm going to actually move these out of the way so there's room so you can see the cards. So, and I'm going to lay them out face down for starters. I'm seeing on this other thing, I don't know. Oh, there it is. That's good. There's a delay in what I'm seeing on this other screen. Okay, so that's the east. Here we have the south, west, and as you can see, it's full house here, and north. And starting from the east. So what is dawning? Healing chaos. That's interesting.
So interesting. All right.
And I'm going to be writing these things down too. I'll also read from the book. It's kind of like a cyclone.
Yeah, I see it. It looks like a tornado. It certainly does clean stuff up.
Right. It's interesting. And I just opened the guidebook and it opened right to that page, which always, that's another kind of an indicator to me. It's like, yes, that's the one. Spiraling tornado. Energy in our universe spirals. Water spirals in the wake of the fish that swims through the stream. Air spirals in the wake of a bird in flight. The moon spirals around the earth, which spirals around the sun, which spirals around the galaxy. Even our DNA is a spiral. It is the healing principle of life. It's not an accident that the ancient symbol for healing is the caduceus, 2 spiraling serpents. It is a sacred spiral. So most people assume there is nothing good that comes from tornadoes, but every part of nature has value. So then this deck, what it does is it has a message about the image, which you can actually even imagine yourself going into the image and see what happens. Um, and then it says the sacred landscape wants you to know when you receive this card, it acknowledges potential chaos or the need for chaos as an activator for profound healing. If your life seems chaotic, know that it has an underlying energy of healing. You are being healed on all levels. You are a healer. Alternatively, if your life is calm to the point of being stagnant, this card suggests it might be time to create a bit of chaos in your life. It will activate healing. Do the unexpected. Mix life up a bit.
So
Interesting.
okay.
But
Okay.
it does at least bring up to me the idea of the divine masculine coming forward and doing something. And so if you've been kind of hanging around with nothing happening and you need to shake things up a little, this is the time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any thoughts, any other thoughts you have on that, Babs?
No, it just somehow the ability, like I think one of the attributes you had mentioned was something like tenacity or resilience, as far as the divine masculine goes. And in order to survive healing chaos, you need to activate that resilience. You need to be able to stand within the midst of the storm, um,
Right,
and tap into that part of you that is that masculine resilience, that ability to bring that, because you know ultimately it brings healing. So that's what I was
right.
thinking about when you said that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, thank you. So for the South here, we have enlightenment.
Okay.
And you can see that as a progression that
Yeah.
you bring up, you bring things to the surface and they
Mm-hmm.
and you get enlightenment if you're paying attention and really dealing with what you're noticing. And
Yeah.
that is actually, I think, a masculine trait, being able to deal with chaos
Mm-hmm.
and bring some meaning into your life through it.
Yeah.
So we have
Embracing.
enlightenment.
Yeah, I love
What's
that.
that?
I love that. I love the concept of enlightenment coming out of the chaos. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm one who always will say, like, if I it happens only if I embrace the chaos, if I walk the path, if I shy away or if I turn away from the pain or the chaos, then the enlightenment will come, but it won't come right then because I have to walk through it to get to the enlightenment part. So,
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And you have to be brave.
yeah, exactly. It is
Yeah.
very brave. Uh-huh.
So if you are, then you end up in, it says vast galaxy. I love this.
I
Our
love that.
beautiful home galaxy is so large that if you traveled at the speed of light, it would take you 100,000 years to go from one end to the other. The realm of galaxies is so vast and so wide that it is beyond human comprehension, which is why the galaxy often symbolizes great enlightenment as well as faith in the forces much greater than us.
Mhm.
I love that. The sacred landscape wants you to know enlightenment occurs when one steps out of the confines of an ordinary definition of self and expands into a greater awareness of the self within the universe. You are now reaching into the invisible realm of spirit and connecting with what you cannot see. Forces beneath the surface are supporting you on the journey. Have
Mhm.
faith in yourself. You are so much more than you believe yourself to be. And I think that's another thing that the divine masculine can understand. Probably both parts.
Yeah, I think.
Have patience that there is a plan unfolding. The sky's the limit. This car represents enlightenment and signals you are entering a time of expansive transformation in a luminous and remarkable way. Trust that the changes ahead are for the greater good, for most certainly they are.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, of course, with this being maximum light in the fullness of summer, it makes sense. We are receiving that light. And it's interesting also, it is, I think, seasonally, summer is the most chaotic time for people. Like it's a time when people
Busy.
revolt and people
Yep.
it's like I can't take this anymore. They'll actually stand up for things that they didn't dare um, in the winter. So it is. Interesting. It does kind of bring
They go right
those
together.
two together.
All right, let's see what we got next.
Okay, so what's coming up from the depths to be explored? Interesting. Flexibility.
Okay,
This card comes up quite a bit.
beautiful.
I've seen this many times recently, which is
Okay,
interesting. And
flex.
it's actually the next one after enlightenment.
Okay.
Bamboo and the wind. The symbolism of bamboo runs deep, whereas many larger, seemingly stronger trees will break in high winds. Bamboo simply bends and sways. Its flexibility allows it to survive and even thrive while other species suffer. Even during a hard winter, when its branches are laden with snow, bamboo doesn't break. It snaps back when the snow melts in the spring. It also has a strong root system so that even during great storms, it survives. Additionally, it is often a symbol of abundance because of its rapid growth. Its upward, verdant, constant growth is used as a metaphor for the fulfilling rise of prosperity.
Hmm.
The sacred landscape wants you to know the meaning of this card is rich and varied. It cautions you to be flexible in your life, be willing to bend and yield. There are times to stand strong, but there are also times to go around a situation rather than face it head on. This card suggests being amenable to change. It is also a fantastic card for abundance and prosperity and suggests that if you are flexible, prosperity can and will come your way in all areas. Additionally, it suggests that a time of rapid growth is ahead. Don't resist it. The time is right for the surge of spiritual growth to occur. That
Yeah,
makes sense too, to
so
me.
much sense. Yeah, it's all kind of flowing together. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, as you allow the healing, the chaos, sit with it, allow the enlightenment, the expansion to happen within you, connecting with the forces that are greater. Um, there will be this need to be flexible. There will be this need to be able to bend and shift and not be rigid,
Mm-hmm.
because growth isn't. Sometimes we think growth is just linear, like it's like, well, growth is up,
It's not.
down, up and down.
Right.
So, yeah, we have to be able to flex and not then retreat back into ourselves if something doesn't
Right.
go the way that we're thinking. That's maybe again when we pull our divine masculine energy and say we're continuing to we're gonna flex with this, but we're gonna continue on the path that's been being laid out for us. So
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's the, as you're suggesting, that flexibility allows you to stay focused and stay on the journey rather than giving up on it and saying, well, this isn't what I expected, or this
Right.
isn't how I figured it was going to happen or wanted it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. So then with all of this, the last one is what's wanting to be healed or explored in the quiet hours. This is interesting.
Oh my goodness
Power.
gracious, power. Okay. All right.
I'm going to write that in there.
Yeah.
And of course,
Hmm.
with this being that masculine season, it is, and some people might say embracing power and the quiet hours don't go together, but it does touch on that idea of the divine masculine,
Mm-hmm.
of viewing power in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So it says Mountain Thunder. And I think another thing that's really special about this deck is that it dovetails these ideas into nature. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it right now, in on our planet, that disconnection from nature is one of the things that is really damaging us individually and collectively. So if we can come back to those relationships, that has great value.
Yeah.
So here we have Mountain Thunder, like the fist of God thrusting up toward the heavens. The stark, ragged mountain holds firm as thunderbolts crush down on all sides. I can see that now in the image. The sound is deafening as it echoes from the mountain peak to mountain peak. Mountains represent strength, power, and permanence, as well as being a potent symbol for attaining spiritual heights as they extend into the sky toward the heavens. Yeah, we often go to the mountaintop. In fact, we'll probably do that in a couple minutes. Thunder and lightning traditionally represent surging power, enlightenment, and revelations of divine matters. Thunder ignites our deeper self and activates our primal and deep emotions. Together, the mountain and thunder symbolize immense power, vitality, and strength. The sacred landscape wants you to know this is your time. This is the time to claim your power and step into your potential. It's interesting. We've been talking about that. This doesn't necessarily mean that you will be without fear. You might feel uncertain, but do it anyway. Be courageous. Let the world hear your voice. Take a stand. Stand up for yourself and others. Share your passion. Teach from the heart. Write, and in your words, write, and your words will have great meaning. Hold your body as if an incredibly valiant, noble, and brave person is there. After all, you are.
Yep.
So that certainly all relates to all that energy and masculine strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think if we look at it as what's to be explored and or
Right.
healed, I think that those four go so beautifully because it's all about, that healing, maybe even of healing of our images of power, healing
Mm-hmm.
of our own images of the divine masculine within us, um, and allowing that healing chaos to come in as we look at that, and then working through getting the enlightenment that comes, being flexible with it, and then walking into the power. That's kind of how I'm reading it for myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
it
Right. Yeah,
like
it does. That's the
reads it
thing about
well.
this reading that I
Yeah.
love so much is it has a real I guess, connectedness. It creates a
Mhm.
connectedness that you
Yeah.
might not have expected, but you can see power for healing chaos, having the power to heal the
Yes.
chaos and
Yes.
open to enlightenment,
Yeah.
and doing it in a way where you can, uh, I, I think, gain more from it through flexibility and more understanding of it if you're flexible with
Yeah.
the way that you're interpreting things. So, and that leads back to just as
Being round. Yeah.
a
And it's just
beautiful.
yeah, it works so well with the energy of summer, the energy of the
Mm-hmm.
masculine. I
Right,
It's beautiful.
right, right. And not expecting everything to be sweet and, just easy.
Or
Um,
passive or
right,
calm,
right.
or yeah, all of those
Yeah,
things.
because this is that active time to go out there and
Yeah, and do it.
put it together.
Yeah. And knowing that we have the resources to put it together. It's like I don't have to put it together. When I tap into that divine masculine, when I tap into the divine, when I tap into the source within me, then I have all the resources I need. So it's not like I have to pull myself up by my bootstraps and do this. This is
Right. It's all within you now.
yes,
Right.
and it's helping me remember that it's within me. It is not something that I have to work towards, but I have to open up. There are pieces that I need to do. I need to be aware of what needs to be healed. I need to embrace and be flexible and then stand. But it's not like I have to pull it up with that part of me that is my will. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's the like when we talk about that awakening. It's like the soul is becoming more whole. It's awakening to its wholeness, and then we
Right.
the
Yeah.
resources in us to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So kind of to me, I often talk about these things as having the potential of having frosting on the cake. So for me, frosting on the cake with this reading is to have what I would call a central focus. And I thought I would draw as a final part of it, draw a card from the major arcana, which are the big lessons of the tarot, using the angel wisdom tarot cards, because we can get both an area of that we want to focus on and an angel, because each of the major arcana cards has a focus from an archangel. So I'm going to just quickly draw this, and then we'll take this angel and go up to the mountaintop.
Perfect.
This is interesting. So what we have is justice. Be impartial and objective. Stand up for what you believe. Try to see all sides of a situation. You will win if your position is one of integrity. And the archangel is Raguel.
Okay. I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
not that familiar with Raguel. This will be interesting. But I think that that idea of justice is, and when you're looking at active energy like this, of just wanting to be fair to everyone involved, I think it's a real beautiful
Mm-hmm.
note to add to everything, to extend it outside of yourself, like how that relates to your reality. I'm just going to look here quickly for it. There's a description in the manual for all of the
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
angels. So I'm going to do that, and then we can do the meditation.
Yeah.
Regulo is like the relationship counselor of the archangel realm. He can help resolve an argument, clear up misunderstandings between people, or just generally see that things go well among individuals or groups. His name means the friend of God, and he can smooth over difficult interpersonal situations or even help you make new friends. His color is pale blue.
Mm. And we're both in blue today.
Right.
So interesting.
Yeah. So, ready for a little quick
Yes,
trip to
ma'am.
the mountaintop?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I think I'll go. I want to change our view back. We'll go back to this view and
There
that.
she
So
is.
here I am again. Yeah, I'm really excited. I thought this was so
Yeah,
beautiful. So we have
yeah.
justice here.
Yes.
And justice, it is interesting. Justice is often challenged, um, and not just like between two people, but in cultures. So many demonstrations and things in the summer months. Um, People are looking for justice.
Yeah.
Interesting, just interesting. So,
Also,
okay, so we'll.
one thing real quick. Also,
Oh
justice,
yes.
justice for ourselves. Like if we look at it also, he talks about being a relational counselor, healing that split between the
Mm-hmm.
masculine and the feminine within us.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
I
And
want
being fair to ourselves.
fair to
We can be
ourselves
hard on ourselves.
and fair to all the different parts of ourselves,
Right. Yeah.
and bringing ourselves together back to that oneness and wholeness. I'm wondering if, yeah, let's see where it goes.
Well, I think for each person watching and listening, it really is, what does all of this mean to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because for each of us, we're on our own individual journey.
Mm-hmm.
And we can look at this and ask ourselves, how does this relate to me?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Okay.
All right.
And it is interesting. I just looking at those words again, how active they are. They are um, power, chaos,
Mm-hmm.
justice.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can start as usual, closing your eyes if you're in a place where it's safe to do so and you feel guided to. So just and starting to breathe in love and light from the universe, inviting all of the beings of light who are here to support us today. And there are many, our guides, masters who are overseeing our growth, angels who are supporting us all the time, all wanting to help us to realize our life plans and to, again, live life to the fullest and joyfully move forward. So just breathing in that support, feeling that support around you. We can invite Archangel Raguel to join us. And you might, as he does, you might feel yourself being surrounded by a beautiful pale blue light. Notice how that affects you. To me, it feels very calming. And breathing in active, lighter energy now. We can imagine ourselves starting to drift up to a beautiful mountaintop, having discussed in the reading the meaning of that climb to the mountaintop. And as we arrived there, that sense of victory for being there, just for being there, for being able to make that journey up to a place where then we have a clear view of the glorious surroundings of the world, the whole world around us, seeing for miles and miles in all directions, and appreciating also all of the beings who are supporting us in creating this planet, this beautiful, beautiful planet. So just settling in there. Again, experiencing the presence of Raguel and that opportunity to really to create harmony and a co-creative energy between individuals and within ourselves, to create harmony within the different parts of ourselves, to be fair to all of the parts of ourselves, and realize that they're all doing everything they can to support us in being our best, even if they're misguided. So we want to understand them and give them an opportunity to express themselves, and also to, for those parts of the self that are disconnected from our wholeness, to bring them back in with love. It seems like we always come back to love as the solution, because it is. And we can see with people to people, often the element that's missing when there is chaos is love. If we love one another, we're open to understanding each other. We're open to different sizes and shapes and colors and orientations, and being actually blessed by the diversity that we see around us. We're also capable of opening fully to the power that resides with us within our hearts. It's interesting, the threefold flame within the heart itself, that creative power in us that comes from the creator that resides in the heart, the threefold flame. The aspects are truth, love, and power. So it is part of our journey to understand what that means to us. What is the kind of power that comes from love rather than division? That comes from caring for one another rather than trying to fight and be the first one to the top of the mountain, you could say. But there's room for all of us on the top of the mountain. And I sense that Raguel is agreeing. He says, if we can understand love is the solution, then justice works for itself. It works by itself. There is no need for an arbitrator, because love is present, and love will guide us. So we can embrace that love, and also ask that love to go to those parts of you that maybe you don't love. It might be a part of your body, it might be a characteristic that you have, and yet we're here to be who we are and to love ourselves fully. So we can embrace that love and share it, send it out to the world. I sense it radiating out and healing the chaos. And that's another part of it, is that healing chaos with love is quite a different thing than many of the solutions people find it, rather than battling each other and killing each other and trying to see who can come out victorious with the most bombs, missiles. We can all surrender to love, and then all of the problems are gone. Makes you wonder. So, Babs, I'm curious if you want to share anything that you're noticing there on the mountaintop.
Mhm. Just noticing just the peace. Um, like when we invited the blue in, just a beautiful enveloping of all of all of myself, all of it's just all part of that oneness
Right.
that we experience when we allow our illusions to drop. So
Mm-hmm. Right. And we're all worthy of love. We're all equally magnificent.
yeah,
So there's nothing really to fight about. I just feel like we are integrating some of that, and we can be agents for healing chaos through love. So with that, we can bring what we have understood and gained today together with us back from the mountaintop. So drifting down gently again, beautifully to where you started in your seat or however you're resting, um, imagining or putting your feet firmly on the floor, on the ground, and making that connection with the earth. So we're connected to the heavens, we're connected to the earth, and we're whole and complete within ourselves. And with that, we can breathe in more active energy, coming back to our normal waking states. You might want to stretch a little. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Well, that was fun and beautiful.
that was yeah.
I'm just curious. Nikki is here. I wonder, would you like to have us draw a central focus for you? We'll give you one of the major arcana cards to focus on and an archangel. I can put justice back in just in case it might come out again, if that interests you. It's interesting. She said, wouldn't it be awesome if our legislators could love each other?
True.
Yeah, it is. It to me, it's very perplexing, but so it is. Um, and she said, of course, to the reading. So I'm going to. I have one card that's upside down. And spreading them out, it looks like I think it's this one over here. Okay, so for Nikki, focus is on this is interesting. It's ego, the illusion of being trapped. Accept responsibility for your situation and then make choices that support your path to happiness. And this is Archangel Michael.
Mm.
I'm going to go back to my other screen for a moment to share this. I think this is another one that is really valuable for all of us to look at those places in our lives where we feel we're trapped by forces that are larger than we are. I'll go back to this also, the speaker view, so you can see. Hopefully it'll be big enough that you can see it. And I think actually that's maybe part of healing the chaos within ourselves. I would say for everybody to look at this and ask yourself, where is it maybe that you're battling yourself and just not seeing the power that you have. Nikki says, oh, that's good. And I think like I said, I think it's a good one for all of us. This is considered a challenging card, but to me, the challenges in cards are for our own good. And
Mhm.
this is a challenge that can bring us to a place where we're more empowered. What do you think, Babs?
Yeah, ego is something. I have two little acronyms. I love acronyms. So, ego, I have two acronyms. Either we can ease God on board or edge God out. So, ego can also stand for edge God out. So, it's either ease God on board or edge God out. So, when I'm caught up in my own ego and my own illusions of my needing to control and needing the power, then I'm edging God out. But when I am easing God on board, then I'm remembering, I'm letting go of those illusions of my separateness. So yeah, so that's what I think, and it's something that I work on pretty much every day because it's just something that in our world just crops up for us, that sense of needing control or wanting control or feeling like we need to control different things versus being within the flow. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, and realizing that while there are a lot of very strong forces on the planet, we are creators and we can create our reality in a way, regardless of what's happening with anyone else,
Yes.
where we can live with joy
Mm-hmm.
and peace and
Ease. Yeah.
happiness.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, I guess that brings us just about toward the end of our time. It goes so fast.
I know.
Um, any final thoughts, Bab, before we?
No, I feel like we've had a good, like, I don't know if you all can see, but there's my little peg with all my stuff on it. I think we've had a
Full
very
hour.
full hour, and just it's beautiful how it all kind of fits together. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
grateful to the divine and to you and this time in a circle. Oh,
Mm, yeah. And I think going to the mountaintop, I think I can't help when I get to that place to focus on love and connectedness and how everything is connected. That's one of the values of imagining that scene and seeing for miles and miles the glories of our world, and um, just changes you.
that's
It makes you enlightened.
there we go. There we go.
Okay, so would you like to share with people how they can connect with you, find out more about what you're doing,
Yeah,
all
so
those things?
yeah, sure. You can connect with me at purplelotus.com, purplelotuscollective.com, sorry, purplelotuscollective.com. And I do like what Jane said, just do healing coaching. I love to help people learn a meditation practice if they don't have a regular meditation practice. That's some of the things
Mm-hmm.
to do. If you're a person who likes to do things in the virtual spaces, talking of AI, I'm also in that part of the world doing stuff with that. So
Mm-hmm.
to connect with anybody who feels like they would resonate. So
Wonderful. Thank you.
yeah,
And for myself personally and Awakenings Institute, I do offer spiritual sessions. And if you want to have, for instance, a reading for yourself for the four directions for summer, or if you want to resolve any issues through readings, guidance, coaching, healing, that's what I do. So I'm going to give you a link, a tiny URL because our website has long links. tinyurl.com/spiritual dash session if you're interested potentially in a session. Also, when you get to the website, that will take you, and there are all kinds of things there. We have blogs and free things and all kinds of information and possibilities. So
yeah,
that's us. And the final thing I always like to say is you can support our our Soul Awakenings podcast that we're doing, following our page on Facebook. You can share this video with your friends, and we're on YouTube, by the way, too. Just getting that really set up. And you can invite your friends to join you for the weekly podcast and share. It's the kind of thing where it's hard to imagine that you couldn't come away with some kind of insight that would be interesting to discuss with people who are like minded. and then also to spread the love, because ultimately we're wanting to create a more loving world.
Mhm.
And then the final thing we do is send all of that love that we've collected together out forward to the coming week, so that your week is filled with love. And of course, that whole reading, your whole season can be filled with love and guided by love. And so have a wonderful week, and we'll be seeing you again next time, hopefully. Oh, one thing I do need to say is we won't be here next week
Okay.
because our anniversary, Philip and our anniversary is on the 21st, and we're going away for the weekend. We don't have any way to to have this happen. It's a rare thing when we don't do it, but we think this time for ourselves is is
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Let's see. We would be 43 years, I think, married. So
Congratulations.
yeah.
I love that.
So have a wonderful week or 2 weeks, and we'll
Yes.
be back. And thank you, Babs, for being such a wonderful co-host.
My pleasure. My pleasure always. Much love.
Okay.